What would you do if your East Asian wife walked into a party holding your hand and spent the rest of the night acting like you didn't exist?
The party was supposed to be a break, a simple night out with friends. The music was loud, the backyard was glowing, and my wife, Marissa, looked stunning. When we walked in, every head turned, and for a fleeting moment, I felt like the luckiest man alive. But that feeling vanished the second she saw someone more interesting. She slipped away, weaving through the crowd, laughing that loud, bright laugh, tilting her head and brushing her hair back, all the little things she used to do just for me. I watched from across the patio as she leaned in close to a tall stranger. Her eyes sparkled with a light I hadn't seen in months. He whispered something, and her laughter rang out so hard she almost spilled her drink. She never once looked my way. Maybe she didn't notice, or maybe she just didn't care. My friend nudged me, told me not to worry about it, but the knot in my stomach only tightened. I tried to join a conversation, but my eyes kept drifting back to her. She was touching the man's shoulder now like they were old friends. Their smiles lingered just a little too long. When she finally came back to me, she smelled like someone else's cologne. She brushed past me to grab another drink, casually mentioning she wasn't going to limit herself just because I felt insecure. Her tone was that familiar mix of teasing and dismissal, the one she used to make me feel small. I swallowed the bitterness and asked her to tone down the flirting. She just rolled her eyes and told me I was suffocating her. I could feel the heat rise in my face as the people around us pretended not to hear. Then she was gone again, pulled back toward the tall man as if by an invisible string. I stood there, alone and unsure. The host tried to chat, but his words were just a buzz in my ear. My focus was locked across the yard, where Marissa was now draped along the railing, the stranger standing far too close. I watched as he tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear. She didn't pull away. She didn't even flinch. A coldness settled deep in my chest. This wasn't just friendly banter. She was flirting without a second thought from me. Later, I stepped outside for some air and found her holding court with a small crowd. She was telling a story about our marriage, twisting the details to make me the punchline. The laughter from the group was awkward, uncertain. She caught my eye, saw the look on my face, but didn't stop. She just smirked and asked if I was embarrassed. I couldn't trust my voice to answer, so I said nothing. As the night wore on, she drank more, her laughter grew louder, and she acted more and more like a single woman. Each time I tried to approach her, she brushed me off, drifting further away from me and closer to him. At one point, they disappeared inside the house together. My heart started pounding. I didn't want to assume the worst, but the dread was suffocating. I waited a few minutes, then followed them in. I found them in the hallway near the bathroom, their voices low. She looked startled to see me, but only for a second. She told me I was being dramatic, that she wasn't doing anything wrong. The man just smirked, like my pain was some kind of joke. I asked her to leave with me. She refused. She said she was having fun and wouldn't go home just because I was uncomfortable. I went back outside and sat on the deck, trying to breathe. Memories flooded my mind, the early days, when she would cling to my arm at parties and tell everyone how lucky she was. Those moments felt like they belonged to another lifetime, to another person. Had I missed the signs? Or had I just refused to see them? When she finally came back out, her eyes were cold, her voice sharp. She accused me of ruining her night with my jealousy. I told her all I wanted was respect. She laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "Respect is earned," she said, "not expected." Her words hit me like a physical blow. The people around us averted their eyes, but the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. She told me she needed space and walked away again, leaving me alone under the dim patio lights. This time I didn't follow, I just let her go. I realized the woman I loved, the woman I had married, wasn't the person standing in front of me anymore. I stayed at the party long after that, the noise and lights blurring into a meaningless haze. I watched others laugh and dance while I sat with the crushing weight of what I'd seen. Eventually she wandered back over, barely glancing at me. "I'll find my own way home," she said, and then she was gone without a goodbye, without looking back. I stood there for a long time, listening to the fading music and the distant chatter. The night had ripped away the illusion I had been clinging to, revealing a truth I could no longer ignore. Something had fundamentally broken between us, and as I stood there in the quiet aftermath, I knew that whatever happened next, nothing would ever be the same.